One Zambia, One Nation. Thank you so much for joining us on this bulletin of ZANIS News. To present it, I'm Michelle Lubinda. The headlines. Government praised for recognizing the role of the church in development. Choma resident expectant of reduced millennial prices. Kamwala South Health Post temporarily closed. And Chingola farmer finds coffin dumped at his doorstep. The news in detail. The Catholic Church have thanked government for recognizing the role that the church plays in the development of the country. And President Hakainde Hichilema was among the congregants at the Catholic Diocese of Chipata to witness the consecration of Musipu Piri as Auxiliary Bishop of the Diocese of Chipata. More in this report.
The Catholic Church in Zambia plays a monumental role in the development of the country, notably in social sectors such as health and education, among others. This is why its activities attracts not only government but traditional leaders. Today, the Chipata Diocese has consecrated an auxiliary bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Chipata, and President Hakainde Hichilema was among the congregants.
And I want to invite the church, the Catholic Church, as I've done for other churches, that please, the people you lead, we the people you lead, are the same people in the wards, in the constituencies, in the province, in the nation, that a government like ours, and indeed any, are serving. So we have an intersection, common interest.
Bishop Gabriel Piri is now auxiliary bishop of the Diocese of Chipata.
I also thank the President, President HH as we call him. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your gift. I know you and I, we have a big responsibility. There's a lot that we need to do if people have to be at least better in terms of their standard of living.
And President Hakainde Hichilema wants a common approach with the neighboring Malawi to combat cholera.
Cholera is upon us. We don't want to lose as many people as we lost during the COVID heydays. Let's protect each other, wash our hands, don't eat anything that is not warmed up, because the cholera bacteria stays in cold environments. Your Royal Highnesses, our Lord Bishops, this fellow speaking here is a global champion for cholera control. So I say with those little credentials, let's protect each other. And I want to appeal to colleagues from Malawi, we are bound together. When there's a disease in Malawi, we should be available in Zambia to support, control it, and vice versa. Because our people are so intermingled that we can be moving diseases from one country to another without intentions.
Reporting for ZANIS in Chipata District, I'm Lubasim Tafela.
Office of the First Lady Mutinta Hichilema and the Muslim Social Welfare Trust have donated wheelchairs to children living with disabilities in Mandevu constituency. Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu, who handed over the 15 wheelchairs on behalf of the First Lady and the Muslim Social Welfare Trust, urged parents looking after the children living with disabilities to continue supporting and motivating them as they are a blessing from God. Tabisos Vanda has more in the following report.
Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu has joined other partners and stakeholders in the official handover of wheelchairs to children living with disabilities in Mandevu constituency. Parents and children have expressed happiness with this kind gesture.
nenzo chitopapa uyu mwana ngatiro kuadwala nienda nayo clinic so naonga ziko muchifuka vanitandizira mumaendero ziko mukwambiri kuti bonse vatitandizira kuti tipezeke na wheelchair.
Human Rights Commissioner Christine Chama has urged parents taking care of children living with disabilities to continue supporting their children.
I appeal to parents, please continue the good work. I really understand and know the importance that parents play in the lives of children with disabilities. You are their first support system.
Lusaka District Commissioner has pledged to continue supporting the improvement of livelihood of individuals living with disabilities.
Allow me once again to thank the First Lady and the Muslim Social Welfare Trust for this timely donation of wheelchairs to the physically challenged children. We know that you will not end here because there are more needy children outside there.
Management of Last Hope for Children living with disabilities is pleased that the children will have equipment that will ease their mobility.
We are very delighted and thankful today because these wheelchairs that were given to us, 10 of them, were donated to us by the First Lady of the Republic of Zambia. Hence, this has actually worked so well because we are able to transfer these to the children that are in need.
Tabisa Sibanda, reporting for ZANIS in Lusaka.
We move to the Copperbelt province, where Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Elijah Muchima has urged people that have built structures within the road reserves and near the rail lines to start moving out, as government is not going to entertain illegality. Mr. Muchima says Zambians and foreign nationals that have built on road reserves should start parking, as time will come when government will start expanding roads. The minister said this when he appeared on Radio Chimwemwe in Ndola this morning. More in the following report.
The tour of Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Elijah Muchima on the Copperbelt province. The minister, in the company of Surveyor General, is on the Copperbelt to meet various stakeholders with a view that the filthy that had characterized the allocation and acquisition of pieces of land in the province is cleaned up. He began his second day with a radio program on Radio Chimwemwe in Ndola.
Nobody is supposed to build near a railway line by law. Anybody near the reserve or road reserve, railway line reserve, should start parking the Katunda and move away.
The Ministry of Lands has engaged Medici Land Governance to undertake the National Land Tithing Program, where property owners are required to pay 3,000 kwacha, the fee some callers described as a burden on the vulnerable.
This matter is key. Even the president are informed. These are issues we need to address this government that affect our people. You are 100% right. An old person stays in a compound there. He has no money. How do they get that money?
And Mr. Muchima, together with his co-guest, Copperbelt Province Minister Elisha Matambo, were on hand to respond to the main concerns raised by the callers.
The issue of Banamkuba FQM land, this is one of the issues why we invited the minister to come and address. It's the same issue which is in Kalushi, and just like he has said, I will require more information from those who are affected. We know that several people have been harassed there.
The Minister of Lands also urged local authorities to desist from selling pieces of land near military establishments, as doing so poses a threat to national security.
The military institutions, especially buying, selling land near a military institution to a foreigner, that we are not going to a state, we are going to grab it. We don't want foreigners near. You cannot put them near a military security establishment. But people are buying and selling without taking care of the future. They are sensitive issues. All these issues, we need to be careful. We need to educate our councillors, and ourselves.
For the seamed silent forest number 27, Mr. Muchima indicated government will regazette the area to protect the water aquifer. ZANIS reports from Ndola, Copperbelt Province.
Minister of Labour and Social Security, Brenda Tambatamba, says her ministry will continue to dialogue and provide guidance to companies that lag behind in implementing labour and industrial relations matters. Ms. Tambatamba, who is on a tour in Serenje district, says companies must respect social security perspectives and that investors must prioritize the improvement of workers' welfare and ensuring promotion of good health at work. More in the following report.
Labour and Social Security Minister Brenda Tambatamba has undertaken a follow-up inspection on PLR Projects Private Limited, a manganese processing company in Serenje district. Ms. Tambatamba, who had a police conversation with management around matters relating to labour and industrial relations, wants the company to respect social security perspectives.
We are putting that as part of the agenda that we are going to promote to protect our people. And secondly, you know that under this ministry, we have other delegates, statutory institutions. We have NAPSA within the ministry, which is supervised by this ministry. Those are social security institutions. So we have NAPSA, we have workers' compensation, and we will seek, as we go out even today, to check out and see how many of these employers and investors who are in Pensulo are compliant to NAPSA, to the NAPSA Act, who are compliant to the Workers' Compensation Act, and are paying for each one of the workers, so that should they, in the unfortunate, unlikely, it should be an unlikely circumstance that it happens that they get injured, that they will seek recourse through that.
And PLR Projects General Manager Devinase Prasad says the company is up to the mark in terms of compliance.
The productivity is concerned, we are up to the mark, and because of that only we are paying, we are maintaining the rules and regulations of Jambi in 100%. I can say proudly, we are maintaining each and everything. As far as NAPSA is concerned, as you know very well, as CSR is concerned.
And Serenje District Commissioner Paul Masua wants the investor to adhere to corporate social responsibility.
Kabamba Primary School, it's very shameful that the workers are coming from the villages, these villages, but where the children are going, in a class, they don't have a desk. In Kabamba, one of the classes, I went there, there's only one desk. The school is very dirty. I think we appreciate your investment, but also the profit, we need to power in the community by helping the schools, adhering to social corporate responsibility. Let's improve on that.
Daniel Billy for ZANIS News in Serenje District, Central Province.
In Southern Province, residents of Choma are highly expectant of reduced mealie meal prices following the release of maize to millers by the Food Reserve Agency, FRA. Meanwhile, Choma Chamber of Commerce President Evans Chisenga has urged government to devise a permanent solution to end the skyrocketing prices of mealie meal. Mr. Chisenga has, however, commended government for releasing over 150,000 metric tons of maize to millers. Here is a report from Choma.
Following the release of over 150,000 metric tons of maize by the Food Reserve Agency (FRA) to selected millers across the country, consumers in Choma are elated as the move will influence the cost of buying the commodity.
The maize being the staple food of the country, the ultimate goal is going to be the cost of the commodity is going to be lowered.
So turomba mamirazi kuti muro ipirushe hansi kutegwa turi hwekwanguruka sobo tureka botuja uri amakana kuti muro amapukwe jiri muro abusu jiri mujuru.
But Choma Chamber of Commerce feels a permanent solution can avert the proliferation of mealie meal prices in future.
Looking at CEC, if the government can create or come up with a revolving fund that can be given to big cooperatives that can be formed in chiefdoms, okay, where we know a lot of maize is grown. it will be sold right there to the cooperatives. So it will have a twofold benefit. One, the farmers there, they will be part of that cooperative. Secondly, they are producing. When they produce, they sell, they will have cash.
25 kilogram of breakfast meal is fetching at 180 per bag retail price and 164 wholesale. Costa Kimdenda, ZANIS in Choma District, Southern Province.
And now health news from Northwestern Province. John Muhangu reports that the Veterinary Department in Mfumbwe District has announced an outbreak of rabies. Here are the details.
The Department of Veterinary Services in Mfumbwe District of Northwestern Province has recorded an outbreak of rabies in dogs within the Central Business District. This follows an incident where a school-going child was bitten by a dog whose samples came out positive. As the Department of Veterinary Services awaits logistical support towards mass vaccination of dogs and possible extermination, Dr. Asen Tembo has implored the local people to exercise extreme caution when dealing with dogs, especially the stray ones.
In this regard, the department wishes to warn the public that they should exercise extreme caution as they deal with their dogs. In this case, I would like to appeal to the public that may you report any suspicious looking dogs within your homesteads or any other dogs that you may see that do not belong to your homes. Any other dogs found loitering or whatever should be avoided at all costs in order to prevent the spread of the disease. Additionally, we would also like to appeal to the dog owners that may you confine your dogs to your yard.
A local resident has attested to an increased number of stray dogs in the community, while Mfumbwe Community Health and Development Programs Director Abel Kakeo has also called for sensitization on the regulation of ownership of dogs.
I want also to bring this before the department that in as much as they've brought they are about to come up with these measures, we would like to encourage them to also consider sensitizing the communities on the number of dogs that are supposed to be kept by each individual as guided by the law, because we know for sure that the law is very clear that a person is supposed to keep dogs, and those dogs are supposed to be kept within some confinement.
John Muhanga reporting for ZANIS, Mfumbwe District, Northwestern Province.
Still in health news, Kamwala South Health Post in Lusaka District has been temporarily closed due to floods following heavy rains. Both Lusaka Province Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata and Lusaka Province Health Director Kwaset Mwale have confirmed the development to ZANIS. Mr. Kamalata, who visited the area, has assured members of the public that government is working around the clock to find a solution. Jonathan Mkuka has more in this report.
Provision of health services at Kamwala South Health Post in Lusaka District have been temporarily suspended. This follows heavy rains that have resulted in the health facility being flooded.
We have continued to sensitize the community that they can access our health services at the nearest facilities around this community. We have Chawama General Hospital, Chirenje General Hospital, we have Kawata Clinic and Kamwala Clinic as the facilities that are closest to this health post here.
Government is also worried with suspected water contamination due to floods.
So my appeal to the community here is that all those with boreholes should get in touch with the Water Resources Management Authority, WAMA, so that they can have their water in their boreholes analyzed, so that we see the quality of their water following these floods which are occurred here.
Lusaka Province Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata says government is doing everything possible to mitigate the situation.
One of the immediate solutions that we have come up with, that we have been advised, is that we are going to make a temporary drainage from here that will take water into the main Bombay drainage system. From here to the drainage system is 600 meters.
Meanwhile, residents here have told provincial PS that there's an urgent need to find a lasting solution to the floods in Lusaka.
Who doesn't know Lusaka is built on a limestone? So when we are doing the roads, why aren't we doing the drainages? Because the water should flow into the river.
Jonathan reporting for ZANIS News in Lusaka.
Paramount Chief Mwatakazembe of the Lunda people of Mwansabombwe district has cautioned people against exaggerating the cholera situation in his chiefdom. Speaking when Mwapula Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Royd Mwansa called on him at his palace, the Mwata disclosed that the cholera situation is not as bad as it is being reported, and that all those who are spreading the falsehoods should stop. Kennedy Chomba has the rest of the story.
Mwansabombwe district in Wapula province is the only district so far in the province which has recorded cases of cholera. However, the Mwatakazembe says the cholera situation in the district is not as bad as it is being reported in various sections of the media.
situation abantu batinya ati Mwansabombwe nalimwekyalo ngeko filifi upi mwangu for office yesu nangu kuline budedimbe ningi kala kupanga abantu balifwa abali chitefyo balifyana sana kabili bale kabale kisha kabale
The Mwata has since commended government for moving in quickly to try and contain the cholera situation in the area. And the Minister of Health in the district says the cholera situation in Mwansabombwe is under control.
According to the numbers, the way they were coming in from the initial, it means that things are better than before. We are managing at the current state.
And where I'm standing here, I'm in a ward which was used as an isolation center for the patients of cholera. Fortunately, there is no patient, and the status score is actually calm. I would generally say that our men and women in uniform were on the ground. I want to thank them very much.
Kenneth Chomba reporting for ZANIS News in Mwansabombwe district.
We move to Northern Province, where local authorities have been implored to ensure that projects under the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, are given to certified contractors. Speaking when he inspected CDF projects in Senga Hill District, Northern Province Minister Leonard Mbao says government wants to see value for money on infrastructure being built. We have more in this report by Nkweto Mumba.
He was in Senga Hill to inspect projects being implemented by the local authority. Northern Province Minister Leonard Mbao began by checking on Senga Police Post, whose works had stalled but is now earmarked for completion using the 2022 Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Mbao also took time to check on other projects that Senga Hill Town Council is undertaking through the Equalization Fund. The provincial minister emphasized the need for quality on community projects under the CDF.
You identify people, the bricklayers, what's in the school. It's now your job to even the contractors that are going to work in this one, make sure that everyone who is touching a project is qualified. It is going to make your work easier. That's why the president has given us this money, is to improve the skill set.
And Senga Hill Town Council Secretary Trison Chunga had a word for the local contractors engaged to carry out CDF community projects.
Development should be seen by their commitment to construct.
high quality standard projects, not those projects that will collapse. This time there is climate change. Once we are constructing a school, we should know that it should not be affected with the climate effects.
Later, Mr. Mbao addressed government workers in the district.
Whatever we are doing, we are going towards economic transformation. When you look at the 8th National Development Plan, it has got a number of pillars. We are going to say pillar number 1, which is the head, is economic transformation. All the GDTs that we have had in the past, this year the president doesn't want any rigidity.
Nkweto Mumba for ZANIS in Senga Hill.
Close to 60,000 cattle have been vaccinated against foot and mouth disease. Mumba District Veterinary Officer Martha Sakala says a total of 59,460 cattle have been vaccinated following the 1,000 vaccines that were dispatched by government. Dr. Sakala, however, says his department is facing challenges of movement due to bad roads which are impassable, making most areas inaccessible. Details in the following report.
Foot and mouth disease is an infectious viral disease that affects cloven-hoofed animals such as cattle. In big concession area, ZANIS caught up with veterinary officers vaccinating animals to prevent the disease. Dr. Martha Sakala is Mumba District Veterinary Officer and now gives the statistics of animals that have been vaccinated so far.
Currently, we vaccinated a total of 59,460. This is across the district, but unfortunately, some parts of the district have been inaccessible because of the bad terrain. As you are aware, we are in the middle of the rain season, and the terrain in Mumbai is quite bad.
Dr. Sakala also took time to give an insight about this disease which has been affecting livestock.
It's a viral infection that affects cloven-hoofed animals. The clinical signs are mostly sores in the mouth and then also on the hooves of the animals. In Mumbai, we have 2 strains, that's type O and SAT2, that affects our cattle.
And cattle farmers have commended government for releasing the vaccines.
Next time next time
because
government livestock vaccination campaign programs should be taken seriously to ensure that the animals develop immunity against foot and mouth disease. Krugasyankuru, ZANIS, Mumbwa.
In unusual circumstance, a 50-year-old man in Mtipa farming area in Chingola on the Copperbelt province woke up to a rude shock yesterday when he found that unknown people had dumped a small coffin covered with a white material at his farm. Mishek Kawe found the coffin at the door of his house around 05 hours as he was about to go for his daily chores. Copperbelt Police Commanding Officer Piswo Mwemba confirmed the development to ZANIS, saying Mr. Kawe reported the matter at Kasompe Police Post and police officers were dispatched to the scene. Mr. Mwemba said upon arrival, the officers found the coffin and opened it and found 1 white egg and a breakable plate placed inside. The police chief says Mr. Kawe has no idea of the person who could have dumped the said coffin and the motive behind it. The coffin is being kept at the police station. As we come to the end of the news, a recap of stories that made headlines. Government praised for recognizing the role of the church in development. Choma residents expectant of reduced millennial prices. Kamwala South Health Post temporarily closed. And Chingola farmer finds coffin dumped at his doorstep. That's all we could package in this bulletin. On behalf of the entire production team, this has been Michelle Olwinda. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.